Hello, my name is Andrea, and this is Starlight Stories for Magical Children. Here you will find a collection of stories that were told to me from storytellers from magical realms, the animal kingdom, and nature. I am delighted to share these stories with you, and maybe as you listen, you'll find that life really is magical, and so are you. Bo the young buck, formerly known as the Fawn, is back with the final part of the 4-part story series, where Bo shares about his adventures with Thea the fairy that lead up to the summer solstice. If you have not heard the 3 stories before this one, I recommend that you go back and give those a listen. Before we begin the story, Bo, Thea, and I would like to wish you a happy summer solstice. May you always know that you are as bright as the sun, and may your days always be filled with magic. Now let's begin. Bo flew behind Thea, and they happily made their way back to the fairy village. Their second adventure complete. When they arrived back and placed the yellow flower on the pedestal, Bo had an idea. Hey, Thea, I know we had planned on looking for the rainbow spiral shell tomorrow, but don't we have time to go to the magic tide pool today? There's still plenty of time before sunset. As he said this, he let out a big yawn. That's a great idea, Bo, Thea replied while yawning. But how about we take a little rest first? We still have a few hours before the sun starts to set. Both Thea and Bo were in true need of sleep. After the late night and the climb up the cliff, they were spent. Bo laid down on the cool grass while Thea found herself a flower petal to lie in, and they drifted off to sleep. Thea, wake up, Bo said. Thea opened her eyes. It was completely dark outside. The sun had already set. Oh, doing berries, said Thea. We missed the window of time to look for the rainbow spiral shell. I guess we were both more tired than we realized, said Bo. I just woke up a few minutes ago. That leaves us tomorrow to find it, said Thea. But I'm feeling certain that we will. The next morning they awoke with the whole day ahead of them, given that they could only find the rainbow spiral shell just before sunset. How would you like to spend your last day in the fairy realm? Thea asked Bo. Bo thought for a moment. Would you show me your most cherished places? I would love to, replied Thea, but just to warn you, I really like rainbows. Thea spent the day showing Bo around the fairy realm. They traveled across a rainbow bridge to pick spring berries. Then Thea showed Bo a magnificent waterfall where the water cascaded over rocks that looked like clear crystals. And when the sunlight shone on the clear crystal rocks, rainbow light burst out over the whole waterfall. Lastly, Thea took Bo to a cavern. As they walked deeper into the cavern, the darkness grew deeper. Stop here, Thea said. They were quiet. She called out into the cavern. Hello, little friends. It's Thea. Then suddenly, tiny little lights began twinkling, moving about the cavern. They were like fireflies, but their lights were all the colors of the rainbow. It was beautiful. By the time Thea was done showing Bo around the fairy realm, it was nearing the time to where the magic tide pool's water would recede, and then they could find the rainbow spiral shell. Let's head towards the pool, Thea said to Bo. Once they got there, Bo was immediately taken aback by how large the magic tide pool was. How many shells will we have to search through? Bo questioned Thea. Oh, I've never thought about how many. But if I had to guess, maybe thousands? Beau's eyes grew wide. Thousands? He suddenly felt daunted by the task ahead of him. I know it seems like a lot, said Thea, but remember, there's only one that is colored like the rainbow. We don't have to count them all. We just have to find a way to move them around enough to uncover the rainbow shell. I really think we can do it, she smiled. Seeing Thea feel so relaxed and confident about finding the shell helped Beau to find his own inner confidence. Maybe it really is possible. Beau looked over at Thea. I have one more question for you, Thea. Why is it that I'm here and not some other animal? Thea thought for a moment. I find the question you asked isn't the most helpful. It is both true that you are here because you are special, and there is nothing special about you that brought you here. This is just where you needed to be. This is the adventure you needed to have in your life. Some might call it a destiny. Beau was reflecting on what Thea said when he heard her voice. Are you ready, Beau? Yeah, I'm ready. Great, because the time starts now. Beau watched as the water in the magic tide pool suddenly receded, revealing a bed of thousands upon thousands of shells. Let's go, Thea cried out. Beau moved quickly towards the pool and began using his hooves to kick around the shells. It felt terribly inefficient. I really think it might work better if you use your rack, called out Thea. Rake them around and I'll keep my eyes open for the rainbow shell. Beau hadn't thought of that. He bent down, put his points into the bed of shells, and began to push them around, also keeping his eyes out for any hint of rainbow color. Thankfully, all of the other shells were a dull sand color, so a bright shell would definitely stand out. There was quite a bit of ground to cover. They both started the adventure with high hopes and great optimism. But as they kept searching and kept not finding the shell, they began to wonder if they really would find it. Beau still felt determined to keep going. He picked up his speed and began working in a more methodical way, making sure no part of the bed of shells was untouched. When suddenly, he heard Thea yell out, There it is! I see it! I see it! Don't move! Beau stopped. He looked around to see where Thea was pointing. And he saw it too, a speck of rainbow in a sea of sand-colored shells. He carefully stepped towards it, gently picked it up with his teeth, and then Thea helped him place it in the pouch he was carrying around his neck. We did it! We did it! We found all 3 magical objects! They both glanced at the sun's position in the sky. We've got to get this shell to the pedestal and get you to the fairy ring, Thea said to Beau. Beau had a burst of energy, and he began bounding back to the fairy village as fast as he could, Thea flying right beside him. They got to the pedestal completely out of breath. Thea reached into the pouch and pulled out the shell. She placed it on the pedestal. She arranged the magical objects into the shape of a triangle. The flower as the top point, the crystal as the bottom left point, and the shell as the bottom right point. And as the shell was locked into its place, a gentle hum sounded and a beam of light rose up from the center of the triangle. They watched in awe as the light rose up like a fountain and then cascaded down, covering the perimeter of the fairy realm. The barrier is strong again. All the fairies gathered to celebrate the summer solstice miracle. Beau looked at Thea. I would love to celebrate, but I know I don't have much time until the sun has set. Would you please take me to the fairy ring? Thea guided Beau to the fairy ring. the portal between the fairy realm and the human realm. Bo stepped inside. He could see the light moving closer to the ring. He looked at Thea. Thank you. Thank you for taking me on these adventures, Thea. I will remember this, always. Come visit next year on the summer solstice, Thea said. There's a fairy ring in your woods where you live. You know where to find me, Thea smiled. And thank you, dear Bo. What adventures we had. And with that, the light moved into the fairy ring, and in an instant, Bo found himself back home. Everything around him looked exactly the same as how he left it. But he was different, forever changed by the summer solstice adventures with Thea. The end.